Have you ever faced a moment so crushing, so utterly hopeless, that giving up seemed like the only option? A moment where every path seemed blocked and the weight of the world was on your shoulders? Stick around, because I'm about to tell you a story about a man who was right there, in that dark place, and what happened next is something you will never expect. In a small, weathered hut, Elias sat, the four walls feeling like they were closing in on him. Despair was a familiar, unwelcome guest in his home. He was the sole provider, not just for his own children, but for his late sister's kids as well, ever since a tragic accident had taken her and her husband years ago. His life had become a constant battle against the rising tide of poverty. Every day was a reminder of his struggle. The school had just sent a notice home with the children, fees were due, an amount that felt as vast as an ocean to a man with empty pockets. As if that wasn't enough, another, heavier burden pressed on his mind. The memory of a huge debt, a constant, gnawing worry. He tried to find a way out, to make some extra money online, only to be scammed, losing the little he had borrowed. The hope he had scraped together vanished, leaving him more desolate than before. His gaze drifted aimlessly through the small window, his spirit completely broken. It was in that moment of utter hopelessness that he saw him, a lone figure, running with a power and determination that seemed almost otherworldly. Every stride was full of purpose. A spark flickered within Elias. He ran out of his hut, his heart pounding with a desperate, new idea. He caught up to the runner, breathless, and begged, "Please train me. Teach me how to run like you." The runner, a seasoned marathoner named Samuel, saw the desperation in Elias's eyes and agreed. The training was brutal. Elias's body, unaccustomed to such physical strain, screamed in protest every single day. His muscles ached, his lungs burned, but the image of his children's faces, their futures hanging in the balance, pushed him forward. He poured every ounce of his frustration, his grief, and his sliver of hope into every grueling mile. He wasn't just running on a dirt path. He was running away from the failure that haunted him. The marathon wasn't just a race, it was his last stand. Finally, the big day arrived. The air buzzed with excitement and the nervous energy of thousands of runners. For Elias, this was more than a race, it was the ultimate test. The starting gun fired and a sea of athletes surged forward. Elias found his rhythm, his heart pounding a steady beat against his ribs. He thought of his family, of the debt, of the chance to finally prove he wasn't a failure. The first few kilometers felt good. He felt strong, alive. But then, just 5 kilometers in, it happened. A sharp, searing pain shot through his legs. They buckled beneath him as if they were no longer his own. He collapsed onto the hard asphalt. The world blurred. Medics rushed to his side, their voices urgent but distant. "You have to stop," one of them said gently. "You can't continue. It's over." Tears of frustration and pain streamed down Elias's face, mixing with the sweat and grime. In his mind's eye, he saw his father, a man who had loved running but had passed away before ever getting the chance to finish a marathon himself. The thought was a dagger to his heart. Was he destined to repeat the same story of unfulfillment? The crowd watched with a mixture of pity and morbid curiosity. They expected to see him carried away on a stretcher, another fallen runner, another dream deferred. But through his ragged breaths and choked sobs, Elias whispered words that were meant only for himself, yet seemed to echo with the force of a battle cry, "If I stop here, I'll be carrying this failure for the rest of my life." He couldn't let his story end this way. He couldn't let his children see him give up. With a groan that seemed to come from the very depths of his soul, Elias began to move. He pushed himself up, not onto his feet, but onto his hands and knees. The asphalt was rough, tearing at his skin, leaving bloody trails behind him. He began to drag himself forward, one agonizing crawl at a time. Every movement was sheer agony. People in the crowd shouted, "Stop, man. You'll hurt yourself even more. It's not worth it." Their words were meant to be kind, but to Elias, they sounded like the siren's call of surrender. He shut them out. Then, something shifted. A young man broke from the spectators and started to run slowly beside him, not on the course, but on the sidewalk. He started clapping a slow, steady rhythm. Then another person joined and another. Soon, a small group was moving alongside Elias. Their shouts changed from pleas to stop to roars of encouragement. "You can do it. Keep going." The chorus of support grew louder and louder, a wave of human spirit lifting him. For every meter he crawled, they were there, their voices a testament to his unbreakable will. Hours passed. The sun reached its peak and began its descent. The official race had long since ended. The banners were being taken down, and the finish line was all but deserted. But the crowd that had formed around Elias had only grown. They had created their own finish line, their own celebration. And then, finally, after an eternity of pain and perseverance, Elias staggered, crawled, and pulled himself across that line. He collapsed, not in defeat, but in triumph. He hadn't won the race, not in the traditional sense. He had won something far greater. He had won his battle against despair. But here's the twist, the part of the story that no one saw coming. News of Elias's incredible feat of endurance didn't just stay in his small town. It spread. A video of him crawling across the finish line, surrounded by a cheering crowd, went viral. His story of resilience touched millions around the globe. He started receiving invitations not to run races but to speak, to share his story. He spoke to packed auditoriums about resilience, about the power of the human spirit to overcome impossible odds. And at one of these events, sitting in the front row, was a little boy on crutches. His eyes were wide, fixed on Elias with an intensity that transcended the entire room. After Elias finished his speech, the boy turned to his mother and whispered, his voice filled with a newfound conviction, "If Elias can do it, so can I." You see, Elias didn't just finish a marathon that day. He did something so much more profound. He showed the world that true strength isn't about never falling. It's about how you get back up. He became a living, breathing symbol of hope. He didn't just give himself the courage to stand again, he gave countless others, like that little boy, the courage to take their own first step. His biggest victory wasn't crossing a finish line, it was igniting the spark of hope in others, proving that even from the lowest point, you can inspire the world. Have you ever had a moment in your life like Elias, where you felt you were at your absolute limit but chose to push through? Share your story in the comments below. I'd love to read it. Your experience could be the inspiration someone else needs to see today. Thank you so much for watching. If you were touched by this story, please subscribe to World of Wonderful Stories for more content that will uplift and inspire you. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. We'll see you in the next one.